Chiefs Kingdom, we are back in the film room for another film review, this time playoff style. We are looking at the AFC Championship game from last week, of course, as we gear up for the Super Bowl, or I guess 2 weeks now almost at this point. But gearing up for the Super Bowl, the Chiefs have been on an absolutely insane run through this last few weeks. I mean, the Dolphins game, the Bills game, and now the Ravens game that we are going to take a look at. Obviously, have not been able to dive into the film of the Bills and the Dolphins. I might touch up on that a little bit at some point. I'm not sure, but getting ready for the Super Bowl, I thought this one was the most prevalent. Of course, the last game, the things that the defense did, things that the offense did too, and different things that, I just kind of wanted to go over. So, let's just get straight into it. With this first play that I got from the opening drive, just a quick RPO, and just the Chiefs do an excellent job right here on this RPO. And one thing that I really kind of noticed about this was Creed Humphrey getting out, and he takes away a chance at possibly making a tackle here. Honestly, I'm not sure, though, if he's going to be able to get there. Just watching this straight through, I don't know. Possibly just because he's got the momentum on his side, he can get to Rashee Rice. So that's a great job there. But this play really has a chance to break into a huge play. Just if you take Creed and instead turn up field, have Creed take this guy right here, and then this is Jawan Taylor, and have him go up the field and take the safety. You might end up get a one-on-one, possibly a touchdown off this play. Obviously wishful thinking there. And, linemen getting that far down the field that quick. Hey, but if somebody can do it, I think Creed could do it. Creed or Trey Smith. Obviously, Trey Smith, one of the best blockers on the team. He's came out on this RPO pulling to the left side for the possible run. Mahomes sees it develop real quick, though. Great job, great eyes by Mahomes. And just early trying to get the ball to your playmakers and get it to them in space, let them work. And that's one thing the Chiefs have done an amazing job at. Through, I think, the second half of the season. You've seen the build-up to it. And if you've been following along the film reviews with me, I've mentioned that many times of just, the Chiefs are really liking to get their playmakers, get the ball to their playmakers in space, and make something happen. This right here, one of those plays that's just Pacheco goes in motion over to the right side, and Mahomes just makes a business decision. Launches that thing to Kelsey, one-on-one, and again, both of these guys right here. This is the greatest duo in playoff history at this point. Mahomes looking over the middle here. Doesn't see too much. Ravens got really good defense over here, but what they did was they made it to be a one-on-one over here on the right side. Got enough routes going towards the middle of the field. Pacheco kind of leaking out of the backfield at this point for a possible check down over here in space, while you've got the other guys in the middle of the field moving towards their left, and Pacheco going out the other way. So Pacheco right here, honestly, if Mahomes waits, Pacheco might have had a touchdown himself right there, because this safety is going all the way with Rashee Rice. Obviously, the ball's already thrown at this point, but you look at this huge space over here. Possibly some things that they can make happen in the Super Bowl. But again, business decision. Boom. Big time play. That's a touchdown. And that right there, that's one of those plays that just when it happened, my jaw hit the floor. I was shocked. And Mahomes had just missed a couple of passes right before this. Huge play, big spike by Kelsey. Get the defense going this time. And the defense, they played exactly how really I thought they had to play. They did an amazing job in this game and kind of just keeping Lamar pretty much towards this middle part of the field. I don't think you necessarily need to keep him in the pocket necessarily, but as long as you can kind of crunch him down to in between the numbers for the most part and behind the line of scrimmage, I think that's the key to kind of beating Lamar Jackson in a way. Zay Flowers, just a quick motion. They fake the handoff, and they do a great job in coverage right here. Snead's kind of waiting for anything to pop up out of the backfield, or actually, Snead's going and coming after Lamar. You got 5 guys coming on a blitz at this point. Bolton kind of hanging out over the middle of the field, nothing really there. Bolton going to kind of move back towards the middle of the field, but really everybody covered. You've got a corner over here, taking this flat route. Lamar's not even looking at it. He's looking downfield, which right here, I don't think there's anyone else deep. So, I mean, see how this develops. Zay Flowers kind of moving off to the right. And honestly, he has Zay Flowers in space, just doesn't have enough time. So the Chiefs do a great job right here at creating this pressure, getting Lamar kind of off of his game. Probably had a route he could have went to. Snead coming in on the blitz. That's Justice Hill that's going to pick him up. They end up getting in the middle. Drew Tranquil, another one coming. And Tranquil's the one that gets hands on him and makes Lamar just throw the ball away. Now, honestly, I kind of thought that right there may have been intentional grounding. Either way, it's close. This play right here, if you know, you know. I mean, amazing play by Lamar Jackson. I mean, the plays like this is why he's the MVP, right? I mean, just absolutely does an amazing job. Makes the play last a ton longer than what it should. Makes the secondary have to hold up. I think that's the Chanel that gets the pressure on him here. Yeah, Chanel just has a back to beat, and that's it. Gets there, Lamar, Houdini, moving out the way. I think he juked his own guy more than he juked Leo Chanel right there. Comes back the other way, gives his blocker a chance, lets it fly. Wide open, one-on-one, Nick Bolton versus Zay Flowers right there. You're not going to beat that. But something that Lamar may have learned from the previous play, just going back to it real quick. Lamar is here. He does not have enough space, which is perfect for that to pop up right here at this particular moment. Doesn't have enough space to really just let that go. Honestly, though, if Lamar just lets it fly right here, may have had a touchdown earlier to Zay Flowers as well. So learning, I think, from a mistake earlier on the drive to put one in the end zone for the Baltimore Ravens. All right, second drive for the Chiefs now. Just get a quick orbit motion out to the left side, and I love these kind of designs that they set up layers with pretty much, because you're going to get this orbit motion from Pacheco, who's going to start in a receiver position. He's going to come all the way around on the backside for a screen, but you've also got Rice working his way across the middle of the field. Just want to go back just to see exactly where Rice starts from, because Rice starts with a chip. And that's actually really fascinating to see that Rice comes in on a chip right there, but then gives you even more of the feel, okay, this is a screen. People are reacting now. And great because, this defense is so good. And we saw that. They pitched a shutout in the second half. This defense is amazing for Baltimore. Second best defense in the league. Hats off to them. And to be able to make this play right here, getting him in space, because you got 3 routes going up over the top. You've got the entire secondary, including Patrick Queen now, moving back to that really, third level essentially. You got Kelsey over here in the middle. Wouldn't quite say double team there, but, obviously running a zone right here for the Ravens. And they get an easy completion. I want to see if this is the one. Okay, so this is one, too, that this one wasn't set up. I think it's another one later that I'm going to look at for that. But what Mahomes has done, and shout out to EDJ who was on the previous podcast, so go check that out if you haven't yet. But just to kind of go back to kind of the point we were making on that podcast, was the Chiefs are taking what they can get. Mahomes is doing what he can do to win the game, right? And they're not doing too much. I think in the regular season there's a lot of times where, Mahomes is just trying to do too much, essentially. And I get that. But he's not going to go out and play hero ball in the postseason, and he's shown that. I mean, unless he absolutely has to, and usually makes the play happen. And perfect timing for this play to pop up. Talking about some hero ball. Mahomes drop back. He's going to get pressure. Holding on to the ball a little too long. And honestly, even earlier on this play, he's probably got, he's definitely got somewhere to go. Right up here that's probably going to net you a first down at that point. Really nothing else. You got one man up top calling for the ball. And I want to say, yeah, that's MVS up top. So MVS calling for the ball because at this point he's beat the zone, right? There's 3-on-1 over here with Justin Watson. MVS does have all of the space. I mean, right there, that's a touchdown. And that may go back to a little bit of the trust, which hopefully, we've seen the trust maybe kind of get patched a little bit. But this is just that crazy play to Kelsey. Mahomes just lets it go, and Kelsey makes one of the craziest catches you'll see. And this angle is going to show it much better. But Mahomes probably had a few options he could have went to. And MVS especially. MVS, I mean, if you make the play on that, I mean, that's a touchdown. Richie James has got a little bit of space right here, but obviously with the way Mahomes is moving around, not going to be able to get the ball there. And Kelsey just kind of fighting in the middle to try to figure out, okay, where's my quarterback about to go, and what am I going to do? And at this point, Mahomes, not even looking that way, he finally turns back the other way. Right about the same time, Kelsey starts to break back towards the middle, which Mahomes right here is pretty much already throwing the ball. Basically, kind of like he's caught in a hot box, like in baseball between first and second, is what Kelsey's doing. And that he lets it go, and Kelsey is not, he's not even there. And just leaps for the ball, makes the catch. The greatest duo in the history of the NFL in the playoffs, right there. Chiefs back on defense right here. And this was a bit of a turning point in the game. Come around, George Karlaftis picks up the fumble caused by Omenihu, and Charles Omenihu has been such a huge signing. There was a lot of talk about it, obviously, with the 6-game suspension, but boom, gets there right before Lamar can let the ball go. And again, just Omenihu's been amazing. And from what I've heard, he expects to play in the Super Bowl. And if I'm not mistaken, I need to do a little bit better research on that, but if I'm not mistaken, Omenihu left with a torn ACL. Is what I saw or what I heard in the very beginning. Now, this is the beginning of last week that I had read that. But the beginning of this week, I also read that, Omenihu was definitely going to play. He said, you think it's going to keep me out of the Super Bowl? So hats off to him if he ends up playing and whatever the injury actually is. So this one right here, if you know me, you know I love these kind of plays, right? I point them out every single time they happen. I love to put them on these film reviews and just watch. It's like stepping inside the mind of Andy Reid, right? And one of the greatest offensive playmakers, or, drawing up the play, right? Andy is one of the best. And the fact that as much film as he watches, as, the crazy things that he pulls out of the hat from 50 years ago, the Rose Bowl play, all of these crazy things that Andy is willing to do and willing to go back and just watch as a student of the game at the end of the day. And that's what makes Andy so good and at what he does and drawing up things like this. And they've been playing on this formation all year. They've been playing on either kind of a split back like this or a fullback type dive, but this one just another little wrinkle to it where you motion out one guy. And that's Richie James in the backfield there. So Richie James just comes in a quick motion across to the right side and try to throw him off guard, essentially. He's calling for the ball as soon as he sees Mahomes has it. So you've got movement up here, and it just opens up the middle of the field. Now you've got a hole right in the middle, and you got one man to beat. Obviously, we're going to see it a little bit better here in a second. It was a very short yardage play. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was a 4th down play. I might be wrong. I might be wrong, and they were 0 for 1 on 4th down on the after the Kelsey catch. But this was a 3rd or 4th and short. And again, Richie just goes in a quick motion. Just cause enough confusion. Just enough. And these short yardage plays, man, they were the bane of Chiefs Kingdom existence, right? I mean, I think anybody watching this can attest to that. And to be able to turn it around the way they have, I mean, it's still not perfect. But again, just to create enough confusion. Now you got one guy going across the line to take his guy to open up the middle of the field. At this point, the hole opens, and you just got one man right in the middle to beat to get that short yardage. And, I mean, Pop's going to get it 9 out of 10 times, I think, especially with the way the offensive line is. Right here, just a beautiful play made. And I think this was... Man, now off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure. But I think this was a play where it got called back for a holding call. But that window where he finds Kelsey right there, I mean, Kelsey had one of the best performances, if not the best playoff performance of his career, 11 catches on 11 targets. The yardage was like 116, 119, something like that, and a touchdown. I mean, Kelsey had one of the greatest performances of his career in the playoffs. Now, this right here is going to go... No, not yet. It'll be a little bit later on, actually, what I thought. But these things I want to point out, because this is big for this upcoming game in the Super Bowl, right? The Chiefs were ready. And this right here, again, going back to that podcast, if you have not checked it out yet, go listen to it. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Also right here on YouTube. Go and check that podcast out with me and EDJ, because this is something that we talked about, of that I feel like Nick Wright, the way he put it on First Things First, it kind of might hold true. I didn't think that going into this game, but after watching this game and watching the film of this game, I kind of agree with what Nick Wright had to say about the Chiefs kind of let Buffalo have the run game. It could have been better, but they were more worried about stopping the big plays down the field. They knew they had to shut Baltimore's run game down. And I feel like that goes just as much as true this week against San Francisco. You have to shut down that run game. They're going to have to beat Kyle Shanahan's run game in order to stop everything else, right? I don't think that Purdy is the quarterback that's going to go out there and win you a Super Bowl. Not to say he can't win a Super Bowl. I'm just meaning he's not going to be that guy that's going to go on a late drive. And EDJ put it, the whole time, when it's time to throw the ball, do you have the quarterback that's going to make those throws? And I don't think Purdy's that guy. They're going to have to rely on that run game. And if the Chiefs can do things like this, and a lot of kind of what Shanahan likes to do, spread out the run and, get these wide open lanes and make something happen with your speedy guys, is exactly what they tried to do here, and they weren't able to do it. They get a couple of yards on a sweep to Zay Flowers. And the tackling of the Chiefs. This is one of the best tackling units I think the Chiefs have ever had. Drew Tranquill gets a hand on him. Mike Dana doesn't let him go any further. Looked like some frustration as well from the Ravens. There's a lot of frustration all day for the Ravens. Nick Bolton getting some good pressure and is just able to knock everything out of motion. Because right there, maybe you could get something out of that. That's Trent McDuffie. I don't know. He doesn't ever really just beat him. And I think that's Nelson Aguilar against him. And I just don't think... Hey, and shout out to Ray, because, they still don't have necessarily the greatest weapons. And, that's one thing Ray has always pointed out with this Baltimore team, is that they haven't put the greatest weapons around Lamar. And that's absolutely a fact. Receiving the ball, because, do you really trust Nelson Aguilar with a 50-50 ball down the field like that? In this game, an AFC Championship game, hats off to going for it and trying to make that play and make a play happen. That's what playmakers do, right? They go out there and they make a play happen. Lamar giving his guy a chance to make a play right here. But great coverage, and the blitz right here, you just got four guys coming on the left side and then one getting around on the right side, and the Chiefs do that, I think, better than anyone. And this was one thing that I knew was going to help the Chiefs beat Lamar Jackson, essentially. Because once you get around that edge and you've kind of gotten, that edge away, which Lamar maybe could have broke out to the right side instead, but he was pretty dead set on throwing this ball out to Aguilar. He felt like he had him. But just going back to the sideline view, just kind of look what's on the right side of the field. Because Lamar had so many chances to break out and run the football, right? And I think right here, you're going to have to run around for more yards than you'd like. So, I think right here, probably the right call is made to not just take off and scramble to your right. You have enough Chiefs sitting in on this side that somebody's going to probably recognize that, be able to get down. But I don't think that's the matchup you want. I don't think you want a 50-50 ball going deep to Aguilar versus McDuffie. But that's just in my humble opinion here. So again, this right here, I think this kicked off the second half. I think this is the first drive for the Ravens in the second half. And again, jet motion from Zay Flowers, just a handoff, and the Chiefs do their job. Justin Reed, amazing recognition. I mean, amazing recognition. And Justin Reed has got some flack here and there I've seen on Twitter throughout the year, and I just don't understand why. I get he's one of the higher paid guys on defense, but Justin Reed goes out and does his job and is good in coverage, and he's even better, I think, in these kind of situations because at the end of the day, look where he's at. Justin Reed is on about the 35-yard line. The line of scrimmage is the 22-yard line. So you're almost 15 yards off where the ball is going to be, and he still gets him right about the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's insane ground to cover. And with the Chiefs, the way that they run this too-high shell and, just confuse you and mix everything up, and you never know what's happening because right here, my thought is maybe he recognizes already that it's a run right there, but my guess is that Reed was going to blitz either way. Comes down and makes a play. And go back to the tackling. The tackling from this team is just next level. And every guy on the team can tackle. I feel like, I feel very confident in almost every guy's secondary, the linebackers, the line of scrimmage, the guys on the defensive line. These guys can all tackle. Very next play right here, and they're going to shut down another run play. This time it's McDuffie. And McDuffie again. It's just showcasing that tackling, showcasing the Chiefs can move side to side. They can stop these run games that are not easy to stop. The Ravens had one of the best running games in the league this year, and everybody just kind of doing their job. And again, look where McDuffie starts, which he's going with the motion, right? He's shadowing Zay Flowers, obviously, right here. So I feel like the Ravens almost messed themselves up on this play because McDuffie is the one that comes around to make the play, and all the ground he covers on that is just – they gave him a head start, essentially, to make this play with the motion and him shadowing Zay Flowers. One thing I noticed, too, about this game, Odell Beckham Jr. did not catch a single pass while being covered by Trent McDuffie. This right here, third play, this was a quick 3-and-out for the defense starting out. And again, you keep Lamar in that pocket, in that range. I just don't think that he's going to be the guy that's going to be able to beat you like that. And right here, really just a terrible throw. I mean, there's really nowhere to go with this ball because where Zay Flowers is working himself into, first of all, Bolton just tracked him the whole time. Obviously kind of taking the middle of the field, and that's a chance for somebody else anywhere, which you only got two receivers on the right side, but somebody else to fill the middle of the field, help Lamar out a little bit. Did get some pressure back here, though. But Flowers is going to run into this zone right here. There's nowhere to throw on this. And Bolton just misses an interception. That right there, not a good throw, and it just shows that here we're in the second half at this point, and it's getting to him. The pockets are not clean. It's not working. Frustration is setting in, and this is where the game was lost by the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion. They lost sight on the goal and got frustrated. And the difference between and not even to just put down the Ravens, but a difference between a championship team and a team that just wasn't, I don't want to say wasn't quite ready for it, but at the same time, the Chiefs have been here. This is their 6th straight AFC Championship game. They're going to another Super Bowl. I mean, this team has showed it all season long. And I feel like I've said on this podcast, on my blog over on Substack, papashowknows.substack.com, all year, this has been a tough season, right, for the Chiefs. But all year, I feel like I've maintained for the most part that let's just wait and see. Let's wait and see what they do down the line. These things are going to happen early, midway through the season. Happen way later in the season than I would have liked it to. And, honestly, I don't want to say that I thought we were dead to the rights going into the playoffs, but it didn't look pretty coming in. I did not expect the Chiefs to be in this situation in the Super Bowl this season, 3-4 weeks ago. So either way, they stayed true to the task, and the Ravens kind of let all of that fog up in front of them, I feel, and were not able to obviously complete their mission, but they just were not able to pull it off. I think because of that, the mental errors. And here's another one right here. And we saw this from the Chiefs last week. McCole Hardman, the week before. Fumbling the ball on the goal line. Fumbled it out of bounds, and now the Chiefs here. L'Jarius Sneed making a play. The fact that L'Jarius Sneed is not a Pro Bowler, the fact that L'Jarius Sneed is not an All-Pro is an absolute disgrace to this league, I feel. The best corner in the league, hands down. There is not a stat you can show me, and I said this in the podcast too. I know I keep referencing that podcast, but you should probably go listen to it. There's not a stat you can show me, there's not film you can show me that could make me believe anyone else in this league in 2023 is better at their position than L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed is the best cornerback in the NFL, hands down. All right, I just had to get that one off my chest. Back in the pocket, and this was the interception. And again, it's the same thing. These three plays all have the same thing in common. You almost threw an interception, they fumble at the goal line, and then you throw an interception that really, this one killed the game. This was it, pretty much. The spirit of Baltimore was absolutely destroyed after this, and I think they knew, it was inevitable at this point. But I mean, where he throws that, and I want to kind of, we'll look at the other view, but where he throws that, I mean, just what are you even looking at that point? Nobody's really open here. Maybe a possibility. He's kind of fallen down, but this is probably your best route to go to at this point. Looking at this play, or just trying to take off and run. And instead, Lamar goes deep, throws up a prayer, and it's picked off. And this is what I mean right here. The body language. Right here. That's your quarterback. And the body language right there says it all. You're the captain of your offense, the MVP, the guy that led you here, and, he's hanging his head. And I think this whole team at this point, we're kind of hanging their head and just frustrated. And that's fair. I mean, it happens. So Lamar turns back, and I mean, if you look at how quick he throws that, so at this moment, he's looking off to his right. Maybe he just thought it would be there. He looks to the middle, and I mean, pretty quickly just lets that ball go. Boom. Show it in real time. Looking over to the right, straight ahead, let it fly. I mean, maybe he just thought that they would have the coverage beat. I think that was Isaiah Likely, yeah. I think maybe he just thought Likely would have it beat and was able to, I don't know. I don't know what Lamar was thinking, honestly, right there, but nonetheless, it's an interception. That's the dagger, at least from the defensive side, because this is the dagger from the offensive side. Hello, MVS. I mean, damn near identical to the Philly game, it seemed like, right? And MVS has now done this a couple of weeks, a couple of games, building a bit of a legacy in this playoff. Boom, ball game. Game, set, match, MVS ends it. Sends the Chiefs home from the bank and on to Arrowhead West in Las Vegas to meet the 49ers, to play to be in the Raiders locker room, to have a Chiefs end zone painted on the Raiders field. Man, times are good. Times are good, Chiefs Kingdom. So, with that being said, I appreciate it if you watch this whole thing. Obviously, we'll have more film review. I'm very excited for the offseason to kind of ramp up things, look towards the draft. Probably a lot more film reviews and more, on individuals, and get into that side of things rather than this kind of just breakdown generalization of the film. And looking at some things, obviously the team construction and what Brett Veach is going to do, where everything's going to go from here. Obviously, win or lose on Sunday in the Super Bowl. Plenty more content coming up Super Bowl week. I plan to have some more guests on the podcast and more podcast releases before we get to the Super Bowl, obviously. But if you enjoyed, smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell, let you know when videos are coming out, and when to get all the latest Papa Shrill content. Until next time, you already know Chiefs Kingdom. Super Bowl week. We are almost there. Go Chiefs.